All right, welcome to level 7. This is what you're going to need to get a B or even an A if you do it well. Level 7 gets into some actual really cool flying stuff that's been around since World War II, which is how all planes navigate in the United States of America. So first I got to explain a couple concepts, then we're going to load a scenario, which is this one in Montrose, and then I'm going to give you level 7 in the normal program. So VOR stands for very high radio frequencies or emissions. And basically what it looks like is you have these things around airports where it's like a circle and there's a big radar thing in the middle of it, and then they shoot beams in all directions like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. So for example, if you look at Montrose, MTJ is Montrose's area or VOR code, and what it does is it shoots these beams in all directions. Denver also has one. Denver shoots beams in all directions. And so if you're this little plane and you're cruising along and you tune into Denver's VOR code, it will give you this one right here. And if you needed to turn towards Denver, you would know that you were on this spoke of the wheel instead of this spoke of the wheel because the radar can tell it that, which is really cool, and that's what these control things do. So with Montrose, same thing happens. Every airport that has a VOR has one of these things, and it'll even guide you into where you need to be. So I want to show you how to tune these things. If you're a plane right here and you're trying to find Montrose in the clouds, what's going to happen is you're going to be flying along, and that's what this scenario is right here. So I'm just going to take you through it. This is the scenario Montrose Cessna, and I don't know if you've noticed, but when you take off in Montrose, you can go into some clouds pretty easily. So right now, I am just cruising along. Let's look at our instrument panel. I'm going to hit unpause, and right now the plane is actually doing a really good job. I'm not even having to hold this because I've got a steady speed. I know my altitude indicator is good. I know that my elevation is good. And then this thing right here is called the pitch trim. If I want to start going down a little bit, I can just leave that down there and it'll hold the plane down like that. It's basically like what you adjust the very back fins for. Or if I want to be going up more, you can pull it back like this, and then you'll notice that I'm starting to go up more. So what we're really trying to do is just find that balance point where we're not going too high, we're not going too low, we're just kind of cruising along. And then on these controls, you don't have to be always pushing down or going forward. So that's just one little hint. Next thing, Montrose. The VOR for Montrose is 117.1. I'm going to show you how that works. Right here on COM, it says COM 1, COM 2, NAV 1, NAV 2. The COMs are radio frequencies for talking to the tower. We don't need to worry about that. What we need to do is we need to click it to NAV number 1. You'll also see these numbers are the same right here. If I zoom in, you'll see 117.1. That's Montrose. That's the active one that we're going towards. This would be the second one. So if we were flying across country, we would fly over Montrose, and then we would zone into the next one that we were going to. And so that's why there's two of them. To change it, you can just always mess with this dial, and you always change the one that's on standby, and then this thing just switches them back and forth. So that's a pretty cool thing. So anyway, here we are. I'm just going to adjust to 117.1, that's Montrose. I'm gonna hit active, so it's over here. And then you're gonna notice something on this screen. Watch this. When I turn it off, that's not picking up anything. But when I turn it on, see how this arrow points in this bottom direction, and this line turns. I'm also gonna click this button, nav1. Hear that? That's Morse code for MTJ. So I know that I'm listening to Montrose. If I don't want to listen to it, I'll click that off. But that's how pilots, even in World War II, could listen for different codes and be like, oh, we know where the airport is. We know which one we're trying to attach or get to. So I'm going to turn that off. Now I'm going to play with something else. Right here, this is our current compass heading. I know that I'm flying and I'm not going to crash. But what I want to do is, if you look really closely, right here, if I hold the mouse on the right-hand side, I see a plus, and if I move it on the negative side, I see a minus. What I can do is I can turn this either positive or negative. Now I want you to notice what just happened. Look at this thing right here. When I turn it this way, it points down, which means Montrose is behind us. When I do it this way and it points up, that means Montrose will be in front of it if I keep going in this direction. So I'm going to keep clicking it until this arrow, went way too much. And what this is doing is this is using the radio frequency to determine what direction Montrose is. So if I head east at this tick, I will get to Montrose. Now what I'm going to do is look up here, and I'm going to slowly turn. Now, one of the things that you may notice is that you guys are used to flying fighter jets and turning really hard. I don't want you to turn past like one of these tick marks, because in a little Cessna, which if you ever get to fly in real life, you're not actually allowed by law to turn faster than that because it's dangerous and you could die. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're at north, we're looking for east, so let's see if we can find it. And again, we're going through the clouds, we're not seeing anything. I'm making sure that I'm level. I'm just doing a nice gradual turn. And it's okay that the Montrose, that this thing is like confused, and we're going to adjust it again, because if you can imagine, if we're going across a bunch of like bicycle spokes, because we're pretty close to the airport, it's going to be moving around. Anyway, here we go. We're getting towards the east, and then you can notice that we're about to be lined up again. Here we are, east, and it's just a little bit off of there. All right, so I'm going to level out. And I'm trying to get this right on this exact same heading, which is about right here. So right now I'm headed towards Montrose, and if I keep going through the clouds, you're gonna have to do some like micro adjustments of all of these things, but eventually we'll get back to Montrose. I'm gonna zoom out, and this is how pilots are able to fly without seeing and just by using their instruments. So, check this out. We're getting through the clouds, and if I zoom in, you can actually start to, here it is. There's Montrose, we found it, woohoo. Since we're here, I wanna just show you something. I can visually see the airport. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of like head straight towards the airport. And then do you see down here how we're almost exactly aligned with the VOR? That means we found it. Woohoo! So anyway, there we go.